Right, so I'm just going to make a quick video to show you what we've been learning in class and how we can remind ourselves how to calculate when we're dividing by 10, 100 and 1,000. So I'm going to start with the number 326.5, and we're going to multiply that number by 100. So as we've done in class, we're going to write out exactly the same digits as we have here, because these digits are going to remain within the number. They just are going to move their place value columns. So we have got a 3, a 2, a 6 and a 5. And you will notice that, as we've talked about in class, I haven't put that decimal point back in where it is. What I am going to do is put my finger where it should be in the number, where it was in the number before it was multiplied by 100. Now, because we're multiplying by 100, that decimal point, or those digits around that decimal point, are going to move by two places. So the way in which we demonstrate that, and the way that we did it in class, was to move and do those jumps. So 1, 2. So that would mean that the decimal point would finish here, and in this space, which is now the ones column, whereas before the 6 was the ones column, we put a 0. So 326.5 times by 100 is 32,650. Okay, let's try another one. So let's do 48.26 times by 10. Okay, so same thing as before. I'm going to write the 4, the 8, the 2 and the 6 onto this side of the equals sign. Shut that out so I've got the right one. So 4, 8, 2, 6. I'm going to put my finger where that decimal is, which is here. I've been back, I've checked I'm multiplying, and it's by 10. So that means I move, the digits are going to move by one place, because there's 1 0 shows me one place. So if I went this way, I would end up with 4.826. So I know that doesn't make sense, because 4 is smaller than 48. And because I'm multiplying, my number should get bigger. So I'm going to put it back where it was, and this time it would go here. So now I've got 482, which is definitely bigger than 48.26. So I know that my decimal point goes here. So 48.26 times by 10 is 482.6. Let's have a look at what we do when we're dividing. So let's go for 345.2 divided by 100. So same methods apply. We're going to write these digits out on this side over here. We're going to look at how many zeros we've got to know how many places these numbers are going to move around that decimal point. So we're going to write out those numbers. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 2. So same as it is here, 3, 4, 5, 2. And now the decimal point, which was previously here, needs to move 2 places. So if we were to do that, we would end up with 34,000. If we were to go the other way, 1, 2, we would end up with 3.452, which is exactly what we're looking for, because we want the number to be 100 times smaller. Now, some of the questions that we were finding quite hard when we were doing it in class were numbers that had what we decided to call a silent decimal point. So let's do that. So let's look at 462. We're going to divide that by 1,000. And as we've said, it's a silent decimal point. The reason being that we know, let me just write this down, we know that the number 462, so 462, is the same. If we put a 0 here, it's still 462. If we put a decimal point here and a 0, it's still 462. So we decided in class to call it a silent decimal point, because we know it's there, we just can't see it because we haven't written it in. So let's go back to our question. So we're going to write, as always, the 4, 6 and 2. And actually this time I'm going to leave a couple of spaces here when I divide, just in case I need a bit of extra space. So I'm going to do 4, 6 and 2. Now I'm going to put my finger where the decimal point would be. And this time, since it's 1,000, I'm going to count 3 jumps. Now, if I was to go this way, 1, 2, 3, and we were to end up with zeros here, here and here, we would end up with 462,000, which when it's being divided can't possibly be right. So we know that we need to jump the other way. So let's do that. So 1, 2, 3. So that shows me that my decimal point needs to go here. But we also know that if we haven't got anything in the ones column, we do write a 0. So it would be 0.462.